Sean, I hate to put even more doom and gloom on this, but the last time we played a Premier League game at home, we lost 2-0 to the likes of Aston Villa.
Yeah. It's pretty bleak, isn't it, guys? I don't know what to say apart from the system is broken at Tottenham Hotspur. The whole thing is an absolute shambles. The ownership doesn't have the appetite for risk that is required in the new version of the Premier League. The amount of money that's coming in from sources, our ownership, as frugal as they've been, as sensible as they've been, they have taken us as far as they can. If we can't get over the stumbling block of paying a fucking asking price, and I understand from a mathematical and financial perspective that there is consequences to giving away 40 million quid of your money, your cash flow. I get that that's an issue. I get that there's issues with why certain players don't want to leave. How do you figure those things out? I'm more tolerant and patient of the mechanics than I guess most people are, who may not want to think about those things. But at the end of the day, I do think that our ownership has taken us as far as they can. The game has just moved on. It's changed. Yeah. Our ownership is probably a part of a bygone era where making ends meet is no longer respectable or appreciated. The coach, for me, I think, whilst I admire the fact that he stands true to his vision, that playing his system and his style is, something that shouldn't have to change just because, the squad isn't there. Fitting the squad to your system, for me, I can understand that if you're playing for Manchester City, or if you're a coach of Manchester City or one of the best teams in the world, which Conte has always been, then having that kind of stubbornness and resilience to the idea that you should have to change to adapt to the players that you play against or the players that you have. I don't think that you can make that argument when you're a team that's got a mid-table at best set standard of squad. I think you have to be a bit more adaptable. So we've got problems at the hierarchy. We've got problems with the coach. We've got problems with our director of football, who we don't even know what his freedom looks like. We have players that are not players that most people would have thought at the start of the season would be the problems this season, in Heung-min Son, in Christian Romero, that's been a piss poor version of himself. Both of those have been. And Hugo Lloris, who can't stop making mistakes because their confidence is gone. And then on top of that, we have substandard, subpar players that just can't do a job. And then when the big moments come, they shit themselves week in, week out. Like, there is problems at this football club from pillar to post, from the very bottom level to the very top. And I don't know what the solution is. I tell you one thing is that changing the ownership does not solve 80% of the problems, but changing the ownership is probably one of the biggest problems at the football club. I'll get on board it. I've been on board it. I'm happy for them to move on. But I also think that the management, the coaching staff, the scouts, the players, the confidence, the psychology, the medical team, the standard of players that we have, the youth team, I think there is a fuckload of issues at Tottenham Hotspur right now. And I don't think any of them are going to be solved by just changing one aspect of the club. I think there needs to be like a factory fucking reset. Like when you find an iPhone on the floor and it doesn't belong to you, and you plug it in, or when you bought someone else's iPhone, you put it in and you set the whole thing back to reset. That's almost where I'm at. So I'm up for everything leaving. I'm up for everything going. I think we have to tolerate a lot of pain. I think that Tottenham fans need to get on board for a hell of a lot of pain. Hard. Right now, there are 4 teams at the football in the footballing world in the Premier League that are miles ahead of us. Miles ahead of us. Newcastle United, they spent less money than Tottenham have done in the last year and have gone from rock fucking bottom to Premier League champion contenders potentially. Manchester United have gone from an absolute shit show shambles, and their manager came in and made some very difficult decisions, right? Difficult decisions that our manager doesn't make around our players. Our star players like Sonny, who continuously underperform, they maintain their position in the team. People like Cristiano Ronaldo get booted from the fucking club under a manager that has less gravitas, less like brownie points in the bag. Yeah. He's willing to make those tough decisions. I don't know if our manager is. for me, I think that the whole thing at Tottenham Hotspur
Everything
stinks
needs a
right now.
reset.
And I think that the
Yeah.
fans are well within their rights to be fucking furious with wherever their animosity and their angst is aimed at. Whether if you're someone
You're
that wants
welcome to
the
point the
ownership out,
finger and
you're
loud
welcome
and
to point
direct.
the finger. I'm not going to tell anybody where to point the finger. Point it wherever you want. Me personally, I think I say it a million times, I think there's a fucking pizza pie of blame. Everybody gets a fucking slice. Sometimes the slice is slightly bigger in some areas than others, but I think this football club right now is going through its most disastrous period, most negative and concerning period since probably 2018, right?
Yeah,
And for
since
me,
the fall
I
apart.
don't know what the solution is, but I definitely know that the problems are not solved by changing one thing. I
Yeah.
think everything needs to fucking change. Everything.
The whole
Yeah.
club needs a whole reset from top to bottom. The owners, you know, like you said, Sean, they've took the club as far as they can go. You need new owners to come in here with big financial powers that can rotate this squad quickly. Then you need a manager that, look, I'm of the belief now that Conte probably does have to look to start changing it up. But once a manager does that, we know what happens. He ends up, he's sort of admitting defeat. He's out of here very, very quickly. You know, we just need a change, a reset. This whole club needs a reset from top to bottom.
Yeah.
You know, I genuinely believe that we would be able to get out by bringing in Conte here, and he'd be able to get more out of these players and stuff like that, and kind of keep it ticking along until we brought in better players and then push on. But after today, I got it wrong. It's just not the case. It's not going to happen. The whole club needs a reset from top to bottom. But look, Jacko, let's get through some of these super chats.